I welcome the members of CAPRA here today. We have an important agenda ahead of us, which I will turn to the Executive Vice Chancellor and University Provost Chairman Whatman. Before doing so, I would like to introduce our newest member of the CUNY Board of Trustees, Chancellor. Trustee Shorter was appointed by Mayor Bloomberg for a term that ends in June 2013. Trustee Shorter is a director of the public-private practice for Ernst & Young LLP Real Estate Transaction Advisory Services Group, with primary responsibility for real estate project management and business development. Prior to joining Ernst & Young, Mr. Shorter held senior positions with Arthur Anderson, LLP, and Real Estate Research Corporation. We are delighted that Trustee Shorter has joined the CUNY board, and are especially pleased to welcome him to CUNY.
Thank you. It's an honor. Thank you very much. It's quite an honor.
I would like to turn this to Executive Vice Chancellor Whatman to provide the committee with a few important updates.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thought the committee members might like to hear about some of the activities that have been taking place at the university. In particular, on Saturday, hundreds of young scientists from across New York City's high schools gathered at the City College for the New York City Science and Engineering Fair. These students designed posters that reflected independent research in science and engineering. And their work was judged by some 200 judges from City University of New York faculty, the Department of Education, and community scientists and engineers. The Science Fair is a collaboration between the Department of Education and City University. Previously, it had been run by the New York Academy of Sciences in connection with Polytechnic University. So when CUNY was asked to host this fair, we were very delighted to do so. And I would say that it was managed brilliantly by Deans John Mogilescu and John Garvey. Both John Mogilescu and John Garvey got extraordinary assistance from the administration and staff at City College. And I would point out to you that President Williams attended the fair along with Provost Dagan and other faculty from City College, which was an enormous vote of confidence in our work with the Department of Education, and also in support of the faculty who were there. When I went around to look at the poster sessions that were done by the students, I was both amazed and humbled. The work that the students have done is truly impressive. And I know that the over 200 judges who were on hand to judge the competition had a very, very hard time. And these students were presenting on mathematics, science, engineering, and also social science topics. Also, it was very intriguing that there was an entire program devoted also to family members. So families came to support their children who were in the contest, but if they had younger siblings, they were able to take them to other locations in an effort to inspire their interest in science. CCNY faculty also opened their own laboratories to the public, and so people walked through their labs and were informed about the high quality of research being carried out on the campus. So I applaud President Williams and his team for working so closely with the organizers of the science fair. And I know that the Department of Education was very pleased with the product. So thank you for the good work that you and your team have done as well. We had another opportunity to showcase really the dazzling faculty who exist across the CUNY campuses. Every year, the Association of Writers and Writing Programs has a national conference, and this year the conference was in New York City. CUNY was a sponsor of this conference. We worked very closely with distinguished Professor Kimiko Hahn and a small steering committee of faculty from different campuses. This writing conference was important because it was in New York City. It was the 40th anniversary of this organization, and CUNY had a very leading role in this work. Our faculty who were there included, beside Kimiko Hahn, Mina Alexander, Tom Slay, the poet laureate and residence, writer-in-residence Charles Simic, Ruth Ann Robson, Edwin Dandicat, Brenda Green, a host of faculty from across the university. And during a reception we had the first night of the conference, we had book publishers and writers from all across the country coming to the CUNY reception in order to talk to Walter Mosley, in order to talk with Charles Simic and others. And it was really a proud moment for the university. And I think as we today begin to talk about all of the good work that is being done in science and engineering across the university, it's important to pause for a moment and also recognize that we have a treasure trove of faculty doing extraordinary work in the humanities, and particularly in the area of creative writing. So I was very pleased to be part of this. During the conference itself, we had dozens of CUNY faculty who gave readings and presentations, and there was a buzz about the work that is being done at this university. So I mention that, Mr. Chairman, because I think the trustees would be interested in knowing the high quality of the creative writers that we have at this university. I would also mention that about a week ago, Trustee DiMartino and I were participated in the law school's 25th anniversary celebration. This was an opportunity for the law school to have, simultaneous celebrations. Firstly, celebrating a quarter of a century in existence. Secondly, celebrating the highest bar pass rates in the history of the school at 83% of the first-time takers, and also its proud membership in the American Association of Law Schools. So it was a wonderful event. Judge Kay gave remarks. She was terrific. There was a lot of very good feeling about the attorneys who are produced at the law school and the important work they do across New York City. So thank you to Trustee DiMartino for attending. Your presence, I know, was important to Dean Anderson. Also, I thought it might be interesting for the trustees to have some information about how we're proceeding with the School of Public Health, since public health is on the agenda today. And we have some faculty from our public health programs who are here today who are actually responsible for all the hard work that has taken place thus far. I would say that we are continuing through the work of the faculty who are here and others who are not here to build to construct the building blocks necessary to create a School of Public Health. And we envision the School of Public Health coming online 2010. At that time, we expect to have accreditation from the accrediting body. And as you probably remember, the School of Public Health is the CUNY School of Public Health, so it is a multi-campus operation, but it will be sited at Hunter College. It is also a partnership between Hunter and Brooklyn and Lehman and the Graduate Center. We also will work with faculty who are not in these founding campuses, but who have interests in public health in their research and their teaching. Thanks to the board, we have approval for a doctoral degree in public health. We have 15 doctoral students enrolled in the program. And also, thanks to the trustees, we have new tracks in the master's degree in public health, in biostatistics and epidemiology, and health policy management. And these tracks are important as we move toward accreditation through the accrediting body. We are working with faculty who are engaged in the teaching of master's level work in public health. For the accreditation body, we are required to have a common first-year curriculum in master's level programs in public health. And so those faculty who teach in the master's program in public health are working together to share syllabi, share learning outcomes, and establish communality so that we are in line for our accreditation visit, which we hope will take place in 2010. There are other campuses, such as Baruch, where there is faculty interest also in public health, and those faculty will be brought into the process as individuals rather than through their campus participation. So we're on, we're on the pathway toward accreditation, and we can't actually have a school and call it a school until the accrediting body designates us as such. But the building blocks are slowly being put into place, and I would commend all of the hard work from, of faculty from across the campuses, who are ensuring that we are abiding by the accreditation body's requirements. Those are my comments for the opening statement, and I think, Mr. Chairman, I would ask permission to flip the agenda and begin by talking about the information items and the community college degrees, and then leave the core of the discussion for the latter part of the meeting.
Before you do that, I have a little question. When you say that the accreditation will be taking place in
2010.
does that mean that the student have to wait until then, or can they start before?
The students can start in the doctoral program, and we have 15 students in the doctoral program. We have hundreds of students in the master's program. But we cannot call ourselves an accredited school of public health until we have authority by the accrediting agency to do that. And that requires us to have a graduate from the doctoral program before we can actually ask the accrediting body to certify us.
Thank you.
So we're just following the procedures.
Any question?
If I might begin with the information item from City College. This does not require board approval. This is simply an information item. and the City College of New York will create the Charles Wrangell Center for Public Service. This will become a national center for the promotion of greater diversity in public service. The center is named for the Honorable Charles B. Wrangell, who, as you all know, whose congressional district includes City College. And it will promote the recruitment of students from underserved populations and their preparation for careers as leaders in government and public service. This is actually a very important initiative because most of the people who are paying attention, particularly to those people in federal public service, recognize that many people in the federal government are beginning to retire. And in fact, there hasn't been a sufficient pipeline of young people to take over from those who are retiring. And there is, in fact, a national effort now to work with colleges and universities across the United States to inform students about federal public service opportunities. And the thinking is that most students really don't understand the opportunities available in Washington, D.C., or in federal agencies that are actually housed in the states. And so this initiative at City College dovetails very nicely with this federal effort to bring awareness to the importance of encouraging young people to participate in public service activities. The center will be housed in a building adjacent to the City College campus and will include the Wrangell Library, a conference center, and offices for visiting scholars. The center will sponsor research, provide student scholarships and intern opportunities. It will organize academic conferences and also reach out to the community at large. The center will be supported largely by private philanthropy, and thus far, President Williams has raised $8,765,000 toward an ultimate goal of $30 million to fund this center. This is, again, a center that will bring together faculty from many disciplines. These faculty will serve on an advisory committee that will work closely with the head of the center. And CCNY has begun a search for a senior scholar who would serve as the lead scholar of the center and would generate interest of other faculty from the university. I think this is important not only because it will give visibility to CCNY, but I think the whole university benefits from the work of this center and from this effort to encourage students to choose federal public service. So if we can begin with item number 5. Queensborough Community College is asking for the authority to offer an AAS in Medical Office Assistant program. This program has been created in response to student demand. It builds upon an existing certificate program, but also adds practical skills valued by employers in the field, as well as having a liberal arts and sciences foundation. Graduates from this program are expected to find employment in medical offices and in other healthcare settings where they will combine both administrative duties and also entry-level clinical duties, such as the recording of vital signs and the preparing of specimens. As we all know, healthcare is one of the fastest-growing industries in the United States, And this proposed program offers a marketable career for students who wish to enter the workforce immediately after earning an associate's degree.
Any question?
Looks like an excellent program to me. I'm sorry, perhaps I missed, but they particularly wanted to mention that it had built on a certificate program that they had developed at Queensborough. So.
I'd like to lend my voice in support of this program. It looks like a program that will help many people who enter CUNY achieve a decent living and socially useful living.
I move to vote on the item. All of those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Those opposed, please signify by raising your hand. Are there any abstention? Will carry.
LaGuardia Community College is asking for authority to offer an AAS degree in radiologic technology. This program prepares students for entry-level positions as radiologic technologists. Because of the need to satisfy the rigorous demands of the accrediting agency, the college has adopted a curriculum that totals 67 credits, which is 7 credits beyond the traditional number for associate degree programs. Therefore, the college is asking for a waiver of the 60-credit board policy. The curriculum will include 20 credits in general education and 47 credits in courses related to diagnostic radiography. This is a program that, for which there is a large market. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics predicts that 15 to 20% more radiographers will be needed in the next 3 to 4 years alone. Because of the attractive entry-level salaries in this area, we know that there is high student demand. We expect admission to this program to be competitive and for students to be ready after 2 years to enter the labor force. The college will be hiring 2 full-time faculty members in order to ensure that staffing levels are appropriate. The program will share a laboratory with the existing veterinary program, so no capital investment will be needed. The college has also entered into an agreement with Elmhurst Hospital in Queens in order to provide clinical sites for students. So the college has done work in all of these areas in preparation for students who will be studying in the program.
Just let me say that this is a very important and necessary program. As you may know, many radiologists are leaving this field and they're retiring, and eventually we will have a shortage of individuals working in this profession, and that will be something that will be extremely necessary in our community. Any debate, any remark? Yes?
We're very proud at LaGuardia of our allied health program, so we're glad to see this, and I know that it's been a long time in developing. It's part of our strategic plan from some years ago, and it's been coming along, and I'm here now.
Humphrey?
I'd like to also speak in support of this program. It's another program that's important for the community and important for the students who enter the university. There's one aspect that deserves particular mention, the requested waiver of the 60-credit limit. I'd like to speak in favor of that requested waiver. The arbitrary limits of 60 and 120 credits for the 4-year colleges pose problems for particular disciplines that are accredited from the outside the university, as this one is, that have high credit loads, and that makes it difficult for the students to get in the required general education curricula credits, and it also is an issue when people design general education curricula because many of them are designed without such high credit load majors in mind. So that's an issue both at community colleges and senior colleges when designing curricula. And I'm glad to see that it's addressed in the appropriate way in this instance.
Thank you. Before I call for a vote, I want to recognize our able and wonderful chair.
Sorry to be late.
Now, let's move to
Policy B.
policy bill. No, we have to vote for this. All of those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Those opposed, please signify by raising your hand. Are there any abstention? None, it carries. How are we doing now? We also want to recognize our Chancellor, Dr. Wilson, in discussing this item now.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thought I would take just a very few moments to give the context of the actions that you are about to deliberate and eventually vote upon. I, for some time, had been concerned about the way in which our doctoral programs are run at the university. We have extraordinary women and men faculty and have been able to attract some very able students over the years, especially when we look at our programs in the arts and the humanities and the social sciences. We can get great pleasure and pride of the extraordinary work and the extraordinary people that we have been able to attract. And while we have very able scientists across the university, our programs have never really risen to the stature that I think I and the board would really like to see. And of course, there's a long history about this. There was really neglect, and several years ago I thought it was important to really ramp up a discussion about the sciences here at this university, in particular how we recruit, how we educate students in the sciences, the engineering sciences. And what I did was to first try to make the public understand better how our graduate school works, because it is unique in public higher education. It's unique, and there was a genius behind how the consortial model was created to really develop deep intellectual capital, centralized around an administrative unit, largely at the Graduate School and University Center, but fed by all of the extraordinary work that goes on at the campuses. The financing of it, how people are chosen to do the work, how we choose students, how they're allocated to professors and laboratories. For many, this was an area that needed some clarity and some light. So in April of 2004, I commissioned an internal study of the graduate school, and we developed a paper that has gotten an awful lot of play. We called it the Quality Education and Structural Urgency, Doctoral Education at the City University of New York. And I did this specifically because I knew there was going to be a second and third and fourth stage to the process that we developed. And I needed a paper first to educate the people that we ultimately would bring in, so that they would understand from the universities from which they came how our consortial model worked here at the university. After that paper was developed and disseminated widely across the university, I invited a number of very distinguished men and women from around the country to look at our graduate school from an academic point of view, largely, and then a financial point of view. And I recruited Dick Atkinson, who is the former president of the University of California system, Bill Kerwin, the Chancellor of the University of Maryland system, David Ward, the former Chancellor of the University of Wisconsin system, and then the President of the Association, ACE, the American College of Educators, American Council on Education, and Ken Shaw, who was then the Chancellor of Syracuse University. And I told them, I want you to take a look at doctoral education at the City University of New York, and from a totally fresh point of view, give me your sense of how you think this structure is satisfying the needs that we have here in the university. To my delight, they came back and were very supportive of the consortial kind of an approach, but saw very clearly, as I saw, but I needed to have outside validation about this, that there were some very high opportunity costs that we were paying unless we really started to think in a very different way. And they honed in specifically in the area that I really wanted attention to be focused upon, and that was science education at the City University of New York. After all, we must have a scientific literate citizenry to be a healthy and informed citizenry. And in the kind of an economy that we are in today and that we are moving aggressively through, science really has to be much more a prominent focus than it has been in this university. So they said, really what you need to do is to focus on your science programs that we think are highly deficient at this university on a number of dimensions, saying again, you have some extraordinary faculty and you've recruited some very good students, but you could do a lot better if you approach the problem in a different way. Something that I and our chairman, Benno Schmidt, have talked about probably a year or two even before this process began. I recruited Bob Silby, who was then Dean of Science at MIT, to chair a task force. We were able to convince Maureen Gunenow, who is a very distinguished biologist from the University of Florida, Norma Allowell, who is Dean of the College of Life Sciences at the University of Maryland, Thomas Rosenbaum, Vice President for Research at the University of Chicago, and then had a series of conversations sort of off balance sheet with Jim Duderstadt, a very, very prominent physicist and the former president of the University of Michigan, and also Chuck Vest, also a very prominent scientist who was then president at MIT. Both of them wanted to join this task force because they saw the urgency of what was needed here, but because of scheduling difficulties were not able to make themselves available. But by lots of phone calls and other discussions, meeting in person, we had their opportunity to participate in this important discussion. In April of '06, I got the report from these very distinguished scientists, and their report was very, very direct. They said, Mr. Chancellor, you got to rethink science education at the doctoral level at the City University, and you got to do it quickly. You have to think about how you teach your students, how you fund the students, how you offer degrees, and how you organize science education at the City University of New York. A call to action by people thoughtful and knowledgeable about the work of doctoral science education in the United States. Once having that report, I was now able to go back and have discussions internally. I then asked our very distinguished University Provost and Executive Vice Chancellor, Selma Whatman, to chair a task force on doctoral education in the sciences. She was joined by 2 of our presidents, 3 provosts, 3 deans of science, and 18 faculty, some of the most distinguished faculty in the sciences that we have at the university. During the course of several months, the number of faculty that participated in this discussion started to increase. I'd like to say exponentially, but it would probably be more accurately to say linearly. But we got a lot of faculty involved because they really saw the need for us to move forward. And what we're bringing tonight as action items is one of the very strong recommendations which I was looking for, which so many of our faculty here at this university have been longing for, and that is to give a number of our campuses PhD degree granting authority that they did not have because of the way in which we were organized. While our biologists and chemists and physicists were being largely, if not almost exclusively, trained at campuses, because that's where the labs are, the degree was conferred by the graduate school and university center and not by places like CCNY, Hunter College, Queens College, and others. Their recommendation was to give these institutions degree-granting authority, something that I had in the background of my consciousness for some time because I understood the power that that would invest in our faculty if we were able to pull this off. And, Mr. Chairman, I must compliment Selma. She has done extraordinary work with so many faculty across this university. The presidents, we have 2 of our presidents in the room that took a real lead here. President Jennifer Rabb at Hunter College, President Gregory Williams at City College. I see that they're joined by their provosts, Zeb Dugan and Vita Rabinowitz. They were very much involved, and I see a number of faculty in the audience as well. That is the context of what it is that we try to accomplish. I'm pleased to announce that for the first time in our history, we now have about 90 packages that we can offer the most promising students to come and study for a PhD at this university. Free tuition, about a $24,000, $25,000 stipend, health benefits. For the first time, we are giving our faculty across this university the tools that they need to attract really first-rate students. First-rate students attract first-rate faculty. And I have been emboldened by the enthusiasm that I see around this university for a reformation. And that reformation is about to occur with we investing about $1 billion in capital construction over the next several years in science facilities across this country. We are hiring more science faculty from some of the most extraordinary institutions in the United States and outside of the United States. And we are giving degree-granting authority for the first time to institutions that are really taking ownership to the education of these very, very talented graduate students. That is what the resolution that you have in front of you tonight, there are a few of them, And with that, I will pass the baton back to our Executive Vice President to take you through the resolutions that are up for your deliberation and approval. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman.
Chancellor Goldstein, but before I want to recognize and ask our chair, Ben Schmidt, for your comment.
I think I'll hold off, and I may have a comment after Selma presents. Are you going to present these, Selma?
Yes, yes.
Thanks. Thank you.
This is nothing short of an historic moment for City University. We regularly bring before this committee requests to create new degree programs. Policy items 1 through 4 are different. They are not new degree programs. Rather, they are requests to change degree registration. For the first time in CUNY history, campuses other than the Graduate Center request authority to confer doctoral degrees. The departments of biology, chemistry, biochemistry, and physics at Hunter College and City College seek joint doctoral authority with the Graduate Center. Hunter College also seeks joint doctoral authority with the Graduate Center for a degree in public health. And the engineering programs at CCNY request sole authority to confer the doctorate in this field. This is not only an historic moment, this is a proud moment for City University. It is a time when a self-confident institution is able to step forward and recognize the faculty who have done important work at City and at Hunter. It is a follow-up to the work that is being done in the Decade of Science, an initiative started by the Chancellor in 2005. I'd like to recognize Dean Jillian Small, who provides a great deal of leadership and intellectual gravitas in this. I also see Dan Lemons here from the Graduate Center. I know he's representing President Kelly, who is on jury duty. This is really a collaboration between the campuses and the central office, between the Graduate Center, Hunter, and City. And this is really the integrated university realizing an aspiration, and that is the deepening links between the campuses. So Hunter and City would like to join the Graduate Center as being able to confer doctoral authority. And I think what we're asking really is not only for you to recognize the requests and change the program registration, but really to recognize the faculty whose work underpin all of this. The faculty governance bodies at City College and Hunter College approved the concept of joint doctoral authority for public health and the 4 laboratory sciences. The executive committees in each of the disciplines approved the concept. The Graduate Council of the Graduate Center also approved the concept of joint doctoral authority for the science programs at City and Hunter and for the public health degree at Hunter College. The request is to give independent authority, independent doctoral authority in engineering to City College, and that was approved by the governance procedures at City College. So we are asking you to vote in favor of these resolutions and approve the awarding of doctoral degrees by City College, Hunter College, and the Graduate Center. This is not a new program. The curriculum does not change. The faculty do not change. Everything is the same except for the registration of the degrees. I will also say, Mr. Chairman, that we have worked very closely with our colleagues in the State Education Department. They are fully informed of our approach, and they have approved our methodology. I would also like to point out that we provided some background reading materials to CAPRA members. These background materials are explanatory only. They are not part of the vote at all today. They do not constitute a formal proposal, but rather were intended to provide some context and background and substance about the work that is taking place on the campuses. These explanatory documents will continue to be refined and amended, so whenever we present them, we present CUNY in the best possible light possible. So we would ask the chair to take item 1B1.
No, I'm very supportive of this. I think from the board's point of view, we have to realize that in the areas of science and engineering, the cost of mediocrity is actually much greater than the cost of excellence, because excellent work is funded by federal, particularly in the life sciences and biomedical research, but also to a lesser extent in the physical sciences and engineering. The cost of excellent work is typically borne significantly by the federal government, and so I think we need to we need to track the investment that we're making, Mr. Chancellor, both in the facilities investment and in the quality of graduate students and the faculty in terms of among other metrics, how well this investment positions the City University to enjoy the benefits of significant external funding for its research activities. I, for one, believe that these investments will prove to be very, very sound, and that for many years we will see the educational and research benefits of this investment coming back to the university many times over. So I'm very enthusiastic.
Thank you, Chairman Schmidt. I'd like to ask any comment in terms of the City College PhD biomedical engineering program. Excuse me.
I'd have a general question, I guess, to the Chancellor. If the programs are the same programs that exist with the same faculty, why did you get such an overwhelming, from the experts that you brought, an overwhelming need to make this change? Where is the tremendous benefit arise exactly?
Recruiting faculty, for example. They like to know that if they're going to Hunter College and they are a chemist or a biologist, that they are going to be at an institution that has degree granting authority. The reason that that is important is that right now there are programs that the faculty at Hunter College cannot participate in, federal programs that are only available to PhD degree granting institutions, and they're boxed out because they cannot participate. That, to me, is one of the most overwhelming principles, and as we build up our portfolio, we're a big university, but we only do about $350 million a year in outside funding, and even that $350 million, only a small portion of it is research. Some of that is the structural imbalance that we have in this university that prohibits the faculty from doing the best possible work and convincing funders that they should be funded. This will solve a good part of that problem.
So minor technical change could open up millions and millions of dollars of funding.
I believe that that would be the case. Absolutely.
Well, it has huge reputational consequences for these campuses. The the whole pattern of federal funding, the way graduate students will look at these campuses, the way prospective faculty will look at these campuses will be changed if the campuses are identified as the source and the locus of this kind of research and education. Now it kind of gets a little bit lost because the labs are in Hunter College or City, but the degree is offered by the Graduate Center, which is somewhere else, and I just think it will have a big impact should have a big impact on the quality of what happens on these campuses and on the extent to which City University gets more like its fair share of federal science and research funding. The City University ought to be getting several $100 million in life sciences related research activities now, and it's not getting even a tiny fraction of that if you compare it to other significant research-based public institutions of very, very high quality. So this is a step to move strongly in that direction.
Thank you, Chairman Schmidt.
I would only add, if I might.
Yeah, sure.
I would only add that specifically, the National Science Foundation, the National Institutes of Health have grants associated with categories of institutions. So undergraduate institutions are allowed to apply for one category of federal funding, master's level institutions another, and doctoral institutions a third. Hunter and City really are would now be able to apply for those grants which are only for doctoral granting institutions. And that means a great deal, not only for the external funding that it can possibly generate, but also for the kinds of faculty who might like to associate with Hunter and City, because they know they will be able to teach doctoral students, they will be able to apply for federal funding to support their laboratories in these categories for doctoral institutions. And then faculty, generate students, and so students who want to study with the best will also gravitate, I think, to doctoral granting institutions. So the reflection and halo effect can't be minimized.
Thank you. Manfred, you have an
Thank you. As a member of CUNY's doctoral faculty in chemistry and biochemistry and a former member of biology, I resigned from that faculty several years ago. Of course, I'm highly interested in this subject. I've been following this for many years. I was a member of the task force that Chancellor Goldstein mentioned a moment ago, and was in fact a member of an earlier task force over a decade ago that was meant to examine the situation of the sciences in CUNY. And the situation of the sciences in CUNY was dire. There was no question about that. When the science doctoral programs were externally reviewed, which they were at periodic intervals, the most common comment was that, one, these programs were of high quality, and two, they didn't understand, the reviewers could not understand why they were of such high quality given the poor resources, the low level of resources that were given these programs inside the CUNY environment. This was also the opinion of a large number of the faculty. And it was clear that the Chancellor has identified, and these outside reviews identified one of the reasons for the problem of the programs, the problem of funding of the programs, I would not say quality, and that was that the colleges were separate from the Graduate Center, and the colleges did not, in fact, get credit for any of the doctoral activity which took place only on their campuses. And so what is on the agenda today, of course, corrects that for two of the colleges. It does not correct it for the others. One of the main problems that has been built into these programs as they existed was that the governance of each program, biochemistry, chemistry, biology, and physics, that governing body did not have the authority to hire anyone. This is almost unique in American higher education, that a doctoral program with a separate governing body, its own curriculum, could not hire any faculty. The reason was, of course, that the faculty were hired by the colleges, generally speaking, without reference to doctoral education. Sometimes it was made as a promise, although the consultation was generally not made with the doctoral executive committees. Most faculty were hired with an implicit promise that they could become members, but sometimes those promises were not fulfilled. I personally know of a recent example where a person was promised such participation and it was not granted because, for whatever reason. So that these changes for City and Hunter are certainly favorable for City and Hunter. The halo effect is significant. Of course, the faculty at Queens and Brooklyn and Staten Island also recognize that halo effect. And in the discussions that we had in recent months about the joint degree concept, discussions that led up to the Graduate Council's resolution that the Chancellor and Vice Chancellor Whatman mentioned, that halo effect, the absence of it for Queens College, Brooklyn College, the College of Staten Island, among others, was a significant factor in the discussions. Many faculty members from those colleges simply said, well, if this is the case, why not these other colleges? In particular, some of them have very similar funding patterns than the two that we have. I'm just describing this to you. I'm not making a judgment here. This is something that the board should know, that first of all, these discussions took place and that these were factors in the run-up to the Graduate Council's resolution advocating and endorsing the joint degrees. Now, for your information, I've asked that the Graduate Council's resolutions on the natural science programs and the resolution on the public health program, which did not encounter this degree of discussion. If it did, I was not aware of it. Those resolutions are copied to you, and you will see that those resolutions have significant caveats that have not been mentioned at this table yet today. The caveats are the resolution is essentially contingent. The approval is contingent on a maintenance of the current governance structure. There was a great fear among the faculty of the Graduate Council that a distribution of authority among several bodies would destroy these programs as integral units, as viable units, and so that curricular authority, the authority to bring in students, the authority to certify degrees would remain with the Graduate Council. And that is part of the resolutions that have been brought to you. Independently of these efforts, the public health resolution adopted a very similar language. And you should be consciously aware of those contingencies. At the same time, the Senate at City College has passed a resolution in favor of the engineering program coming to City and the joint degree concept of the sciences, and Hunter College has done the same. These are good things. So the associated text, of course, that Vice Chancellor Whatman referred to was not seen by those bodies, and therefore that text, of course, is something that still should be considered for the future. One thing that was regrettable was that the executive officers of the program who do run these programs on a day-to-day basis had not seen these documents and were really unaware that it was going to come to this board committee today. However, after I received these documents, I made them aware of that, and there's been a busy back and forth between Vice Chancellor Whatman's office, I think a productive back and forth, between the EOs, myself, in the last few days, actually, since the documents landed on my desk early last week. We'll be making comments on these documents as I think Professor Beakey will be making comments. But in general, I have to say that it's important and good that the university is paying attention to the sciences. The packages of the student support packages are extraordinary. It's an extraordinary change for this university. Of course, we know that these packages are financed to a large degree by the colleges. It's the first year that's financed centrally, as well as the health benefits. These are good things. They're good things both at these two colleges. They're also good things at the other colleges who are not mentioned here today, who are equally important members of this consortium. So that's what I'd like to say just at the outset here, and we will have more comments on the individual proposals.
Thank you, Manfred. Professor Vicky, you want to say?
Yes, and I did want to preface whatever I say about these programs as not reflecting the desire to vote against them. But there are some questions and concerns that I have with them. For example, in engineering, in the explanation that follows the two resolutions, the two resolves, it says, the engineering programs at City have always been campus-based at City College because no other CUNY campus offers engineering education. Faculty who teach the engineering courses and who conduct research in engineering programs have always been appointed to the 5 engineering departments within the Grove School of Engineering at the City College. And we think that that's inaccurate, and so the first handout that I gave to you is from Dr. Alfred Levine from College of Staten Island. He is a professor of engineering science and a member of the PhD program in engineering, and wanted to explain that the engineering programs at the College of Staten Island are ABET accredited, and so this statement is not accurate in what it presents. I'll also
Can I take that one at a time?
Okay.
Would you like me to, just to make it easier for the trustees? That statement referred to doctoral education in engineering. That did not refer to engineering generally. What we're saying is that doctoral engineering takes place at City College. And while it is possible, actually, for faculty from other campuses to be involved in doctoral committees or in research teams, there are no instructors of record in the doctoral engineering program from outside City. That was what we meant. We were not referring to undergraduate education. It's not the subject of our discussion.
It doesn't say that. It says faculty who teach the engineering courses.
This is about doctoral education.
Well, but
Okay.
you know, there are ways to rephrase this so that it's
What's your next one?
more accurate. I mean, I found a general problem in the form of the full proposal that I have here, which has since been revised. And thank you
It's
for
not a
that.
proposal. It's never been a proposal.
I understand, but what it said on the cover page that had subsequently to be revised was that the full proposal had been approved by Grove and by the Faculty Senate. And as you say now, it's not the full proposal. But when I received this package, I assumed that since it said the full proposal, that that's what it meant. And so that's what we then proceeded to make inquiries about.
I can understand you're making inquiries about it being a full proposal when you received it. I think we probably had, 50 email exchanges, during which time I said in every way I knew how to say, I am sorry. That was mislabeled. It was not a proposal. It was simply background material. I don't understand why we're raising it now. We said this was background material for the trustees so they would have some context in which to vote on doctoral education at City and Hunter. We made an error by putting proposal on the cover sheet. We retracted that. I don't understand what the conversation is about.
Does that mean that if this is background material only and that there are points here and there in it that we need to change, that need to be changed, that those would be altered along the way?
Yeah, those are campus-based materials, and the campuses have assured me that they want those documents to be accurate and to be appropriate. And so if there are changes to be made, of course we will make them. But we can't make them here. Those are campus proposals, so we have to work with Hunter and City to make those amendments.
Having heard enough information, debate about, I want to call for a vote. And all of those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Those opposed, please signify by raising your hand. Any abstention?
Yes.
Okay, it will be record. The item carried. We are going to be voting now in item 2 and 4.
Items 2 and 4 refer to City College and Hunter College being granted the authority to confer the doctoral degrees in biology, biochemistry, chemistry, and physics jointly with the Graduate Center. As we mentioned before, the Chancellor mentioned this. This action is consistent with the recommendations of an external advisory committee, and it is consistent with desires by faculty at City and Hunter College. We believe that this authority will allow the campuses to improve their external funding possibilities and also strengthen their ability to recruit distinguished faculty from across the United States.
Any other comments?
Oh, I have one other, I'm sorry, one other thing is, because these are the first doctoral degrees in natural sciences granted by City and Hunter, this will require a master plan amendment in each case.
Professor Beakey?
Sorry. Yes, can I ask you again, in these cases, since some specific items in this background material were highlighted by various people, that those would continue to be changed as...
It's an iterative process that, again, we have to work with the campuses because we are not responsible for the documents themselves. So we will ask City and Hunter to entertain all of the suggestions that faculty make.
And this is the subject of one of the other handouts that you received, the two graduate council resolutions that concern the consortial, the continuing consortial nature of science in the last resolves. And so you have those and you can
I just want to be clear, what we're agreeing to here is that we will engage in a conversation with the relevant people at City and Hunter to entertain all of the amendments that faculty would like to make. And that's what we have been saying for the last few days.
Manfred?
We hear, I think I'd like to say that I appreciate Vice Chancellor Botman's comments that about the supplementary material. Her comments about our free exchanges over the last 2 days or last several days are entirely accurate. We've had, I think I mentioned it before, a productive and intense and productive series of exchanges on these documents. And the intensity was dictated by the time frame. We knew that this meeting was coming up and could not be delayed. And so I'd like to recognize that and thank you for this.
I'd like to move the item. All of those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Those opposed, any abstention? 2 and 4 items carried. Now we're going to be discussing the Hunter College Graduate School and University Center Joint Doctor and Poly degree.
Yes. The committee approved a doctorate in public health some months ago. We now seek approval today for Hunter College to have joint doctoral authority with the Graduate Center. We believe this is a major step toward the creation of the CUNY School for Public Health, which will be sited at Hunter College. And as we said earlier, we hope will be up and running in 2010. This proposal is designed to enable Hunter and the future School of Public Health to meet accreditation requirements.
Any comment? Professor?
Having a School of Public Health is really a very important thing for this university. It rectifies one of our weaknesses, and we have weaknesses in the area of health-related sciences. And this is one step. I think more steps are needed in this direction, but I'd like to congratulate all who are associated with this for this particular step.
Thank you, Professor. All of those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Opposed? Abstention? It'll carry. Now we're going to be...
That's our agenda.
Oh, we've done that. Well, excellent. We have finished our agenda, and this being a very historic moment, and we thank all of you people for your participation.
Motion to adjourn.
Go bring it.